Boy, if that's not inspiring, nothing is. Wayne Messmer, the one and only, with God Bless America. And we are back at Wrigley Field. Dave Otto, Chip Carey. Bottom of the 7th inning rolls around. Augie Ojeda, Joe Girardi, and Eric Young coming up against Shane Reynolds, who leads it 6-2. Cubs with 4 hits. The Astros have 7. And another final in the National League. The Phillies suffer a disappointing defeat to Cincinnati tonight. 2-1 the score. The Reds win again. We'll see the Reds after the Astros depart town. And a make-up 3-game series here in Chicago. Good seats available for those games. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Reds. Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Pirates. If you had tickets for the games that were postponed, simply follow the day of the week on the ticket to tell you which date your tickets will be redeemable here at the ballpark. If those dates don't fit into your plans at this time of the year, you can't exchange them, but that must be done at the Wrigley Field box office before the makeup dates are played. Here's Augie Ojeda. He's walked, he's grounded out. Cubs got to get going here. The Astro bullpen getting busy, but right to Bagwell. 1 man out in the 7th inning. Augie trying anything he can to get on base against Shane Reynolds, but he bunted it too hard, I think.
And you bunted to the wrong guy in Mr. Bagwell, one of the best in the business. That was a Sunday hop, though, for Bagwell. And anytime you go to the right side of the infield on a bunt like that, what you're trying to do is get it past the pitcher and somehow force the second baseman to field that ball. Unfortunately for Augie, pulled it down that right field line to Mr. Bagwell.
Joe Girardi looks at ball 1. Again, Joe representing the Cubs as one of this team's captains, with some inspirational words before the ball game. And Joe obviously caught up in the emotions of the moment, choked up at the end of his speech. You can't help but think about what has been going through his mind these last couple of weeks. So many years he spent in New York. He loved his experience with the Yankees. He's still very close with that organization. I'm sure in all the years he spent with New York winning those championships that his path crossed many people whose lives were directly affected by the terrorist strike at the World Trade Center. And I think his clutch at the heartstrings was felt by everyone in this ballpark tonight. And I think we all sometimes forget the personal toll that was taken. So many people will be touched for a long, long time by what has happened. Inside to Girardi. He coaxes a walk. And the top of the Cub order is coming up. That means Young, Gutierrez, and then Sammy Sosa here in the 7th inning. Reynolds has been wildly effective. 4 walks for him.
You know, despite those 4 walks, he has been able to move that fastball around. Then once he gets ahead, he will go to that forkball. And we talked about the strength of this Astro ball club, and it looks like Mr. Durker is going to go right to it.
Shane Reynolds right at 100 pitches tonight. Walked 4 men. Houston's got one of the best bullpens in all of baseball. And let's see what Larry Durker has in mind. Mike Jackson is up. Redding is up. And Larry Durker will pat Shane Reynolds on the back and say, son, job well done. Reynolds is on his way perhaps to his 13th win this season, his 99th in his career. And Mike Jackson will come on in relief and face the top of the Cub order. Mike Jackson's another reason, Dave, why this Astro bullpen is so good and so deep. He was signed by the Phillies last year, but had arm troubles. They had bullpen trouble. Now he's healthy, and the Astros have 4 guys that can close out a game for them if necessary for Larry Dierker.
Did not pitch an inning last year, making his 63rd appearance of this year in 64 innings pitched. Only 19 walks and 42 strikeouts. What has made Mike Jackson such an effective closer and an effective setup guy in years past has been that slider. To go along with a fastball that he will rush up there in the mid-90s.
Shane Reynolds 101 pitches officially, 6 innings and a third, 4 hits, 4 walks, 1 strikeout, and he gave up the Sammy Sosa solo home run in the first inning that gave the Cubs a 1-0 lead. Houston got 2 in the second, 1 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth, and a strike to Young, 2 balls and a strike. Lieber against Oswalt tomorrow afternoon. That'll be a WGN telecast beginning at 2 o'clock Central Time. Saturday, Kerry Wood against Dave Malicki. Fox Network will have that one televised regionally for you. Then Sunday, Jason Beret against Wade Miller. Heck, I'm not going to see you for 3 or 4 days.
I'm going to miss you, Chip. But I'll be back next week.
Drive safe. 3-1 pitch. Caught the corner. Young not too sure. Full count, 3-2.
You know, you mentioned Dave Malicki, and that's a big reason why Houston is where they're at right now. 7-1, and that was a great change of scenery for both Dave Malicki coming over from Detroit and Jose Lima.
Not only did they get a guy in Malicki who has good stuff, but just hasn't been able to win for whatever reason, and may have been beaten down a little bit by his last couple of stops. But it allowed Houston to get out from under the huge financial obligations that Jose Lima has. He went from being one of the game's dominant right-handed starters pitching inside the Astrodome to a human punching bag at Enron Field. And now he's pitching in Comerica Park in Detroit with, I guess you could say in fairness to him, mixed results. He hasn't pitched in the American League in a couple of years. But it's amazing to go from 20 wins and Cy Young consideration to a man that very easily could have lost 20.
Enron Field got in Jose Lima's head, and it's very easy to do in that ballpark.
3-2. Hot shot up the middle. Lugo diving play out at second. Great play at shortstop. That ball was past Lugo, but a fully extended dive kept it on the infield and kept Eric Young out of luck.
We have seen the range from Lugo a couple times up the middle. EY with a good at bat right here. But Lugo with the diving stop, and Joe Girardi breaking up this play with Biggio, although probably no shot at turning 2.
So Ricky bats with 1 on, 2 outs. 6-2 Houston. Over but low. 1-0 your count. Astros trying to cut their magic number in the Central to 6. Ground ball toward the hole. Castilla, funny pickup, flips to Biggio in time, and that does it for the Cubs in the 7th. Jackson relieves Reynolds effectively. He leaves, allowing just 2 runs, and the Cubs trail it by 4 as we head to the top of the 8th.
Your brain is an amazing thing. But as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. In clinical trials, Prevagen has been shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
At Domino's, we think you and your oven could use a break. Ours are running at 450 degrees, and your pizza stays untouched from here to your table. Use contactless carryout to get 3-topping pizzas on any of Domino's 5 crusts for just $7.99 each.
There's never been a better time to have a favorite food. With new Grubhub Plus, you get unlimited free delivery and cashback rewards for ordering noodles. And noodles. And noodles. And noodles. Grubhub Plus, free delivery, cashback, and noodles.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, and it feels like American muscle, looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy. Mow with an attitude.
These are uncertain times, but we at First Midwest Bank remain strong, remain committed to our clients, to our communities. And we want those who are uncertain in these uncertain times to know that even though we currently all need to stay apart, we are all in this together. First Midwest Bank.
Lugo in this ball game a couple times go up the middle and rob the Cubs of a couple of hits.
Lance Berkman leads off the 8th inning. Berkman 1 for 3 tonight. A win by the Astros give them a best ever road record. They're 46-28 right now. That's the best road mark in the league. And it would equal their franchise record of 47 road wins on the season, with a whole lot of road work left for them, quite frankly. It'd also be win number 91 on the season, and it would just about finish things for the Cubs as far as the division race is concerned. They would not be mathematically eliminated yet, but the margin for error would be razor thin. Don Baylor saying before the game, Cubs got to find ways to win ball games. There is a sense of urgency right now. Just have not been able to sustain many attacks, nor have they been able to put together that late season long winning streak to take command of their own playoff fate.
Well, it seems like the last couple weeks with this Cubs ball club, it's been a case of where they do get good hitting, but they don't have that pitching to go along with it. That last road trip, the Cubs averaged over 6 runs per game. However, the pitching staff allowed 54 runs in 76 innings pitched.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And there is the thought that, hey, if this is a Cub team, that if you had said at the Cubs convention or in spring training, hey, Cubs went 65 and 97, you take them to September 27th and be 4.5 games out of the wild card, you take your chances with that. However, when you look at this Cub team being 6 games in front in first place, as McGriff makes a terrific diving play for out number 1, that's what's going to be so tough for fans to swallow, I think, is that the Cubs led their division for 2.5 months, but when Kerry Wood went down, everything else kind of suffered in the rotation. Then when Flash Gordon went down with his elbow, it made an even more impact on the negative side of the ledger.
Because it changed that bullpen around for the Cubs. And you know, you can pinpoint that is an area where Kerry Wood went on the disabled list in August, and since August 1st, the Cubs have gone 20 and 27.
Which is not the stuff you want when you're talking about a team trying to make the postseason. But there have been an awful lot of good things to talk about, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about those as the days go on here. The Cubs not conceding anything. A loss tonight's going to put them 5 games back in the wild card, 9 behind Houston, with just a precious 9 games remaining. 2 balls and a strike to Hidalgo, who's got a couple of hits tonight. And now he jumps in front. Ball 3, 3-0. That's in for a strike. Well, contrast where the Cubs were on August 1st. Houston was 58 and 49. They've gone 32 and 13 since August 1st. That's how they were able to turn the division around.
Well, they got their rotation lined up with guys like Roy Oswalt, Dave Malicki, throwing the ball good for Larry Dierker. And that offense, even though they stumbled a couple weeks ago, pitching picked them up.
Hidalgo is called out on strikes. Van Poppel has retired 5 straight. 2 up, 2 down for Orlando Merced.
Boy, one guy that's quietly putting together a good year is Todd Van Poppel. 71 innings pitched, ERA under 3. And his appearances are going up also. 54th game this year. But here's a guy, Chip, that I'd like to see next year get into more situations, in winning situations. And the reason why I would like to see that, because then you take a little more stress off of some of the other relievers, guys like Kyle Farnsworth, Jeff Fassero, so their appearances don't pile up quite so much.
2-0 count. 3 balls, no strikes. Well, Van Poppel is able to say now something that he probably couldn't say as recently as a couple of years ago. He has a chance now to make Major League Baseball his career. Not professional baseball, but Major League Baseball.
Correct.
He has turned around his professional baseball career, and it all started with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who let him pitch at AAA. The Cubs then signed him as a minor league free agent, put him in the bullpen, and he hasn't stopped throwing strikes since. I mean, he's been an outstanding addition to the Cubs pitching staff the last couple of years.
You know, even though he's been around the block a few times, he's only 29 years old despite all of his experiences, starting with the Oakland A's, Texas Rangers, Pittsburgh Pirates. So that's going to be a key for him as his career progresses. The one thing that sometimes he struggles with, and you'll see it in his delivery, he really wraps the baseball, and sometimes it takes a long time for him to get the baseball to the plate. And you don't see too many guys that wrap the baseball like he does that successfully throw strikes. However, the last couple of years he has been able to be consistent in the zone. However, last year 86 innings pitched, 48 walks, so that's going to be a key for him.
Rick Sutcliffe did a pretty good job of wrapping and ripping, didn't he? But Todd deserves a lot of credit. #1 pick of the Oakland A's, brought to the major leagues very quickly. He's bounced around, but has found a home in Chicago. 1 ball, no strikes to Vinny Castillo, who broke the Cubs back with a 3-run homer in the 6th inning. And it was a no-doubter. With the wind blowing in, it went a long way.
Here's that wrap that I'm talking about. See how he wraps the baseball right there? It takes a long time for him to get out front with all of his pitches. And you mentioned Rick Sutcliffe is one of the few guys that has been able to do that consistently. And when you scout guys, young players, that's one thing that scouts will look for, is if a guy wraps, you don't see too many guys consistently in that zone. But Todd has been able to refine his mechanics to allow him to get his arm in a good position to throw.
Inside corner, 2-2.
Boy, Chip, you mentioned the backbreaker and Vinny Castilla hitting that ball out of the ballpark. I really think, you know, that was a knock on Vinny Castilla last year, was he couldn't catch up to the good fastball. And we've seen him take a couple sliders, drive him to right field, and then the home run tonight. I really think you got to crowd him with that fastball.
Oh, Parker almost got picked off. As close as you can get to picking a man off first and not getting him right there.
There's that balk move. See how that left foot moves a little bit first? And that's what a runner sometimes picks up. The old balk move, Chip.
You're not cheating if they don't call it, right?
That's right.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Vinny Castilla. Houston 6, the Cubs have 2. We are in the 8th. Full count, 3-2 with 2 outs. Let's see if Barker is running. McGriff in on the grass to tell Van Poppel how he will set up defensively. Barker can really run.
I don't understand why he would. Fred McGriff, 3-2, 2 outs. to hold the runner on because he is running. You want to hold him close, but just play a step behind him.
There he goes. Good jump. It's inside ball 4. 2 are on, 2 are out. 2 consecutive 2-out walks. Barker to second. Castilla's at first, and the catcher Tony Eusebio hits in this Houston 8th inning.
You know who Eusebio reminds me of? Cliff Johnson.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Uh-huh.
You ever hear that story about Cliff Johnson? One time he was sitting in the bullpen during a game and he fell asleep, and they called on him to pinch hit. He ran in from the bullpen, pinch hit, hit a home run, went back to the bullpen, and went back to sleep.
Good work if you can get it. Eusebio looks to me like the famous kid's toy Mr. Potato Head with the mustache.
Chip Carey said that.
And I mean that in the best possible way. Doesn't he? Put the mustache and the baseball cap on him.
That's a good call.
I don't think Mr. Potato Head, though, chews tobacco. At least he should. And I know Mr. Potato Head can't hit like this guy can. 2 balls and a strike. And Girardi out to try to settle down Van Poppel, who retired 5 in a row before walking the next 2 men. 2 balls and a strike to Eusebio. Bullpen busy for the Astros. Zambrano's going to get up for the Cubs, apparently, and I think that's Dotel down there for Houston. Not sure, though.
It is.
And Oscar Acosta out for another meeting on the mound. Well, I hope John Lieber could throw a good game tomorrow afternoon. If anybody deserves a chance to be the first Cub pitcher to win 20 since Greg Maddux, he does. Lieber's going to get 2 more starts, including tomorrow's. So he's got a shot at 20. But he's got to outduel Roy Oswalt, who's pitching great for Houston on the season.
Boy, that is right in front of John Lieber, and what a thrill it would be for him and this Cubs organization, along with Oscar Acosta, for John Lieber to get those 20 wins. And I thought John turned the corner, even though he only went 5 innings last time against his tough Astro ball club. I thought he threw the ball much better last time, and maybe it was a case where he did have a dead arm for a couple starts.
2 balls, 1 strike to Eusebio. Back up the middle. Ricky to his left. Fields and flips to second in time. Good play on both ends. Ricky and Eric Young make a fine play up the middle, and that does it for Houston in the 8th. Stay tuned, folks. Sammy Sosa is scheduled to lead off for the Cubs.
You are watching Marquee Sports Network, presented by Advocate Aurora. Trade the waiting room for your family room. Schedule a video visit and stay home with our Live Well app. On the next, Cubs 162. The gift of perspective in these uncertain times.
I'm more worried about going and saying hello to my parents. I got teammates with the kids.
4 Cubs make the most of their living arrangement.
If you're going to be quarantined, it's not a bad place to be quarantined at.
Cubs 162 on Marquee Sports Network.
Sure. Yeah, we all want to know, honey, so.
Blue. Blue means boy. Blue means boy.
If you ride, you get it. Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Sport has the power to unite. It has the power to build communities. It has the power to break down barriers and allow people to feel as though they're on equal footing with one another. We at Cubs Charities have the ability to do some critical work right now, utilizing the power that sports has in building community, in inspiring hope, and uniting a city.
Launch back into the 21st century. All week long, Marquee Sports Network will feature all games from the 2000s. From Ramirez's walk-off.
Pitch to Aramis. There's a drive. Deep left center. Cubs win.
To Zambrano's no-hitter. Cubs Classics 2000s Week, all week long on Marquee Sports Network. Proudly presented by Pregame.
Sammy's been on base 3 times tonight. He hit his 59th home run in the first inning. It'll be our Mercedes moment tonight. And it was one of life's unscripted thrills. After the moving pregame ceremonies, he took a Shane Reynolds pitch and hit it into the seats. And then took the flag on a ride. Biggio ranges out, can't get it. Sosa's on base for the 4th time tonight. That'll be a 3-hit night for Sosa.
And with that wind and that drop off right behind the infield, difficult play for Biggio. That's the 2nd time tonight that the Cubs have been able to dump one over his head.
Here's McGriff. Fred has doubled, walked, and lined to center field. So a 1-for-2 night, but 3 real good at-bats by the Cubs first baseman, who is seeing the ball exceptionally well. And again, I think all of us are excited to know that Fred has intimated that his plans are seemingly moving toward him being a Cub for the year 2002. And having him in the National League for a full year, he believes will help him get off to a good start and continue to put up very impressive offensive numbers.
Because I think we're seeing the Fred McGriff now where his bat is alive.
And he shows it there. A drive deep toward right. That one's in the seats. Fred McGriff, a 2-run homer in the 8th. It's a 6-4 game, and the Cubs are right back in it. In his 8-game hit streak, McGriff has 5 home runs and 14 batted in.
Tenth home run as a Cub, and the ball is flying off of Fred McGriff's bat. Good low ball hitter, low ball pitcher, and he got him.
And for a guy with a bad hamstring, he's getting incredible leverage right now on the baseball. So it's 6-4. Some of the fans who are heading for the exits are going to hang around for a little bit now. Astro bullpen gets busy. 6-4 the score. Nobody on or out in the 8th. And a strike to Rondell White.
Boy, you take a look at pitch tracks right down the chute, right in Fred McGriff's wheelhouse. The ball just makes a different sound off of Freddie's bat, along with Sammy Sosa's bat.
So how about the year for McGriff? 29 homers and 98 batted in between Tampa Bay and Chicago. I guarantee you Don Baylor will take that right now for the year 2002.
Oh, he was talking about it before the game the other day. How much of a pleasure it will be for him next year to pencil in Sammy in that 3-hole and then Fred McGriff to follow up.
Then you figure out who hits 5th. Maybe it'll be Todd Hundley. Maybe it'll be somebody else. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Rondell White had a contract option. Depending on the number of at-bats he would receive, it would have already kicked in. That's not going to happen. But I'm sure the Cubs would love to have Rondell White back if they could put together a deal that made sense for both parties, and if Rondell could stay healthy. And all of a sudden, Jackson's pitching the Astros into a big mess. He's going to bring the tying run to the plate here in the 8th inning, and there's still nobody out. Mike Williams getting ready in the Houston bullpen. But he got up only moments ago. And now Larry Dierker will make a very slow walk to the mound. Chad Myers will pinch run for Rondell White. Here in the 8th inning. And Jackson will be lifted.
Now Williams, his last appearance 2 days ago against the Cardinals, but the Cubs have worn him out this year.
And a good start. Tucker takes outside. Houston this year, when leading after 7 innings, is 72-5. That is in jeopardy here in the 8th inning. 1 on, 2 in, nobody out. Rocket, base hit right field. 2 on, nobody out, and Roosevelt Brown hits for Van Poppel.
Boy, for some reason, Mike Williams does not like and has really struggled against his Cubs ball club. An ERA approaching 7 this year against the Cubs. While he was in a Pittsburgh uniform, they got all over Mr. Williams.
Now, was Roosevelt Brown announced? So Roosevelt
Brown,
well, they say Brown was not announced. Now Larry Dierker wants to know if he was announced to the umpire. Apparently not. So you've got to figure in this situation, with Delino DeShields coming up, the Cubs are thinking bunt with DeShields.
And to stay out of the double play, and really Delino DeShields swung the bat well. Good. Swung the bat well the other day. However, in this situation, I think the big reason why Don Baylor has him in there, and Chip, you alluded to it, this might be a bunt situation, and if you do bunt, I would keep the ball away from Jeff Bagwell over at first base, because they will take a shot at third base.
Bagwell comes charging in. DeShields takes the ball outside. Castillo was holding his ground over at third base. Williams was coming charging off the mound toward the third base foul line. Bagwell pinching in from his position at first base. So where is the bunting lane for Delino here?
You want to bunt it soft enough to almost force, just get it onto the grass.
Same play is on. Bunted high in the air. That's perfect. Sacrifice, runners to second and third, 1 out. So now Brown bats for Ojeda.
Well, good move by Don Baylor to pinch hit to Shields first to get the bunt down, and then you get your RBI guy in Rosie Brown pinch hitting for Augie Ojeda. And look at Bagwell crash on this play.
How about that risky play? On a cold night, bare hands that high hopper, but got his man. So first base open. Here's Brown. Runners second and third representing the tying runs. Cubs have 2 in, 1 out in the 8th inning. A 6-4 Houston lead.
Get yourself a slider, because Williams, that is primarily his pitch. He will throw a ton of sliders.
Cold night, they let the pitchers go to the mouth on the mound. Brown digs in. Ball 1 outside.
You know, it is a cold night, and Chip, that I don't think Mike Williams had enough time to get loose down that right field line. You know, you have to allow your relievers just a little bit extra to get loose.
Cubs trying to come off the deck late at home against the Astros. The 1-0 pitch outside, ball 2. Matt Stairs waits on deck. He would bat for Joe Girardi here. $38,000 fans at the ballpark tonight. The 2-0 pitch. Took a little off. 2-1.
Boy, it took a little off, and that pitch on 2-0, pulling the string, and that pitch disappeared.
Hot Hot shot up the middle. Lugo to his left, concedes 1 run and gets Brown at first. White are making Myers scores from third. That closes the book on Jackson. It's a 6-5 game with Tucker at third, 2 outs, and Matt Stairs to hit in the 8th. These Cub fans want to believe. Give Brown a pinch hit RBI on the ground out. Sharply hit ball up the middle. And so now Stairs is coming up. Stairs 3 for 4 against Williams with a home run. 2 outs, tying run 90 feet away. And that missed outside, ball 1. Six to 5. Houston clinging to the lead. Everybody on their feet. Ball 2. Good hitters count. Tucker at third. The pitch. Nowhere near. Ball 3. I'll bet you the Cardinals are looking on tonight, hoping the Cubs can complete the comeback in this 8th inning. 3-0 pitch to Matt Stairs. He walks him on 4 straight. So Williams comes in, adds a little fuel to the fire, and now Larry Dierker flips off that Astro cap, pulls out the lineup card, and we're going to have a double switch in the 8th inning. Mike Williams can't get the Astros out of the 8th inning. 3 runs are in, 2 men are on, 2 men are out, and Eric Young's coming up. Cubs trying to put together a Yankee Doodle dandy of a ball game tonight. 6-5 the score in the 8th inning, and Brad Ausmus in to catch the flaming fastballs of Octavio Dotel, who has just absolutely eye-popping numbers. Since June 18th, this man has given up 5 earned runs in 54 innings of work. He has become one of the premier setup men in baseball.
What I find puzzling was Dotel was up that last inning, and all of a sudden Larry Dierker had him sit down the right field line, got Williams up in a hurry, and I really don't think that Mike Williams was completely ready when he went into the ball game. So the Cubs catch a break there, but EY has got his hands full against Dotel, who has one of the best breaking balls to go along with that changeup and that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Young 2 for 7 against Dotel lifetime. 2 outs, tying run 90 feet away. If nothing else, the middle of the order is going to hit in the bottom of the 9th inning for the Cubs, so that's something to think about too. Eric tonight 0 for 3 for the Cubs. Slingshot fastball popped out of play, strike 1. Dotel in relief, 6-3, a 157 earned run average. He's made 4 starts as well, with not nearly the same results for Houston. Just past 10 o'clock local time. The Cubs trying to tie it up. Throw it right past him. 0-2. That was a wicked fastball, folks. 95 with movement at the chest.
Well, let's see how proud he is of that fastball as he rushes EY up in the attic with that good live fastball. Let's see if he goes back to that fastball.
0-2. First and third, the pitch. Woo. Didn't miss by much. Dotel thought it was good enough. 1-2 your count.
Boy, pretty close pitch to lay off.
I think it might have been too hard.
Boy, looking at pitch tracks, it may have nipped the inside corner.
Good cut. Young battling hard here in the 8th inning. 3 runs on 3 hits for the Cubs. A couple of walks as well. All 3 runs so far charged to Mike Jackson. And time call.
You know, EY is sneaking up on that fastball, making the adjustment. And Dotel, who has a pretty good breaking ball along with that changeup. See whether he eventually pulls a string on EY, because right now EY is on that fastball.
Almost hit him on the way by. 2-2. Wouldn't that have been something? We've seen just about everything else in this inning. Fred McGriff's 2-run homer brought the Cubs to within 2. Now it's a 1-run game with 2 outs. Got him with a fastball, and the inning is over. Nice comeback by the Cubs, but it falls 1 run short. 3 runs come home, and heading to the 9th inning, Houston clings to a 6-5 lead.
Hi, I'm Lolly, a Domino's franchisee.
As you can see, we're open and working hard to safely keep putting food on people's tables.
And we could use your help doing that.
If getting some full or part-time work during these tough times could help you,
Domino's is hiring.
Head to jobs.domino's.com
and apply today.
Because we're not only committed to putting food on people's tables,
we're committed to helping you put food on your table.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
There's never been a better time to have a favorite food. With new Grubhub Plus, you get unlimited free delivery and cashback rewards for ordering noodles. And noodles. And noodles. And noodles. Grubhub Plus, free delivery, cashback, and noodles.
How much dogs do you have?
I got 7 dogs.
Welcome to Bay versus Ballplayer.
Cubs win on a grand slam by Hayward.
You need something you can run to that makes you happy.
I think everybody hopes to play forever.
We're mic'd up. I tried to play Fortnite. I downloaded it. No chance.
No. Catch the best Cub moments every month with the Best of Cubs YouTube on Marquee Sports Network.
Here's what's up. If I make this shot, you got to stay home. She shoots, she scores.
Top of the 9th, and wholesale changes for the Cubs as Farnsworth comes on to pitch. Robert Machado is behind the plate. Bill Miller is the Cub third baseman. Roosevelt Brown is in left field for the Cubs.
Farnsworth making his 72nd appearance of the year. Opponents only hitting .215 off him, and big number for him in those 77 innings pitched. Only 27 walks.
First man he'll face is Houston catcher Brad Ausmus. Ausmus, Biggio, then Lugo. And guess who's up in the Houston bullpen? Cubs are going to get a good look at Billy Wagner in the 9th inning. So Farnsworth's got to keep it a one-run game here. Osma's at .232, 5 homers and 34 driven in for Houston. He is all the way back in that right-hand batter's box. Wide open batting stance, and he cuts on that pitch and fouls it away for a strike.
Hey, when you're facing someone throwing 97, 98, you get as deep in that batter's box as you can. Farnsworth's last appearance yesterday against the Pirates, going 1 inning, no runs.
Chopped to third. Bill Miller checks in and makes a good play. 1 down. Miller, by the way, will hit 5th in the Cub batting order in the 9th.
How about that vertical? Better than yours and mine.
There's no doubt in that. Here's Biggio. 0 for 3 is Biggio with a sacrifice fly tonight. The all-time games played leader in Houston history. Before it's all said and done, they'll retire number 7 when he's finished playing. Biggio has had a terrific comeback season from ACL surgery last year. 19 home runs, 64 batted in. Although he's not quite the same player, not nearly as much speed shown by Biggio. He's slowly starting to get the range back at second base.
Potential comeback player of the year and also recipient of the ugliest helmet and bat. Look at that pine tar.
I'm surprised he could throw the bat away. At the belt on the outside corner, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And he's one of those few guys that you see that has that thick-handled bat. And he doesn't have the knob on his bat because he feels like with that knob down there, it really cuts into his hand.
Breaking ball missed away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Arizona taking out a little frustration on Milwaukee tonight. They lead the Brewers 7-1 after 3. Milwaukee has played the Diamondbacks tough down at the Bank One ballpark of late. 2-2. Full count to Biggio. Don't want to put this guy on. 3-2.
Those are frustrating pitches right there. Kyle Farnsworth with a nasty slider, and Biggio laying off it.
Base is empty, 1 out in the Houston 9th. He lost it. A 1-out walk to Biggio. Cubs have walked 7 Astros tonight. And shortstop Julio Lugo will hit. Lugo's 1 for 4 tonight. He singled and reached on an error.
Well, Chip,
highlight his evening offensively.
Chip, you mentioned that Biggio does not have the same wheels as he once did. For a couple of years, he had over 1 year 50 stolen bases. However, this is a situation where potentially could be a hit and run. Machado into the ball game, off the bench. You know, sometimes not 100% loose. Kyle Farnsworth pretty deliberate to the plate, and a good hit and run guy in Julio Lugo.
Swing and a miss. This is also the spot that terrifies you when you have Biggio on base, because just when you think he's not going to run, he'll take off. He's just a very smart, heady player.
Exactly. He knows the counts, potential breaking ball counts, when to run.
6-5 is your score. Houston with the lead, batting in the 9th. Biggio not going, and it's a swing and a miss, strike 2 with Bagwell waiting on deck. Lugo overmatched on that last pitch.
You know, if you get a swing like that, you always like to see pitchers climb the ladder and throw one even higher, see what happens.
0 and 2 to Lugo. Biggio not going, and he blew him away with a fastball. 2 outs. Cubs have held Bagwell in check. In fact, Bagwell has yet to hit the ball out of the infield. He's 0 for 4.
And this good old country hard ball right by Mr. Lugo.
You used to throw like that.
Yeah, I couldn't throw like that out of a train going 80 miles an hour.
Be careful here. Bagwell 0 for 4. Biggio running, got a great jump. Fastball strike. No chance for Machado, and that's what we were talking about. Just when you think Biggio won't go, he does. Now you've got Bagwell in an RBI situation with 2 down. And Machado had no chance.
High leg kick. And sometimes after striking a hitter out, you lose focus of that runner over at first base, and Biggio with a walking lead, or actually running lead over at first base.
So a hit could mean a run here. 1 strike to Bagwell. Berkman's waiting on deck. You don't pitch around Bagwell to get to him. Missed the corner, evens the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reynolds and Tapani are the pitchers of record so far tonight. Ooh. Oh, man. How about that pitch and how about that swing? 1 and 2.
Kyle Farnsworth airing it out, and Mr. Bagwell airing it out. Boy, get it above his hands.
The 1-2 pitch. Went up there again, this time too high. 2-2. Don't get too cute with Bagwell, though. He knows how to take a walk. In fact, he's got 98 of them on the year. He got it. Threw it right past him at 98 miles an hour. And the Cubs down a run will bring Gutierrez, Sosa, and McGriff to the plate in the 9th against Billy Wagner, the Astros.
You might take something for your heart, your joints, or your digestion. So why wouldn't you take something for the most important part of you? Your brain. With an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish, Prevagen has been shown in clinical trials to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
When you're home, there's nothing like enjoying a classic with a classic. Miller Lite, great taste and only 96 calories. Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual. We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I'm Kyle Hendricks. I'm Anthony Rizzo. I'm Craig Kimbrell. You're watching Marquee Sports Network.
You're watching Marquee Sports Network.
You're watching Cubs Classics, proudly presented by Pregame. Let's get back to the action.
Farnsworth blows away Lugo and Bagwell with mid-90 fastball heat. And here in the 9th inning, Billy Wagner will greet the heart of the Cub order as he looks for yet another save for the Astros. He has been as close to perfect as you can get as a closer. 37 of 39 saves. And a strike at the knees, sinking in the zone. Ricky tonight is 0 for 4. This is his final chance to extend his hitting streak to 5 games. Good cut, but strike 2.
Well, what you see off of Kyle Farnsworth, you also see off of Mr. Wagner. About a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that he is proud of to go along with that slider. It's funny, Wagner ran into Kyle Farnsworth the other day in the weight room. He said, hey, you know, you're lifting all those weights and you're big and strong, but I can still throw harder than you. So there's a little friendly competition between Billy Wagner and Kyle Farnsworth.
How'd you like to have those two guys on the same team in the bullpen? It would be unfair. 2 strikes to Ricky. Base is empty. Cubs down a run. Line drive caught by Bagwell at first. He saved an extra base hit. 1 man out in the 9th. You can win games other ways than with the bat, and Bagwell might have just done that for Houston.
You know, great first baseman, and he's playing no doubles where he is cheating towards that first base line. And that was a sure double.
So here comes Sammy, 3 for 4 tonight. Couldn't stop himself. Strike 1. Billy Wagner with 5 straight 30-plus save seasons. He's 2 saves away from tying his own franchise record of 39. This for a man coming off of left elbow surgery. No balls and a strike. It evens the count at 1. Special thanks tonight to our producer of Cubs baseball, Bob Albrecht. Dave Turner, our director, our associate producer, Joe Corneo, Christine Charbonneau, our stage manager, Moheen Ramsey, the production manager, Dan Lafferty, our executive producer, and all the fine men and women on the staff tonight for great pictures, great sound, great emotion from the pregame ceremonies tonight. 1-1 pitch to Sosa. Skips up there again. 2 balls and a strike. Ricky Gutierrez line to Bagwell for out number 1. If Bagwell doesn't catch it, it's in the corner, and the Cubs would have had the tying run in scoring position. No such luck, though, but Sammy's up and ahead 2-1. Bouncing ball up the middle. Sosa's got a 4-hit game, and the tying run is on. What a hitter Sosa's become. Third 4-hit game for Sosa this year, and Fred McGriff can win it with 1 swing of the bat against Wagner.
Sosa just finds a way. This ball is by him, but he gets enough of it to get that ball up the middle. You see from that side there, that pitch was past him, but he is so quick. Just battles his tail off.
This is not an automatic out, lefty-lefty. McGriff hitting .304 against left-handed pitching this year with 3 home runs and 16 batted in.
And he has always worn out left-handed pitching.
Sosa very short lead at first. The 1-0. Missed outside. Ball 2. Bill Miller waits next. What a game. What a comeback by the Cubs in the last 2 innings tonight. towards second, should be 2. Out at second, throw to first, dug out by Bagwell, and that's your ball game. Billy Wagner fell behind Fred McGriff, 2 balls, no strikes. Got him to hit the ground ball right at Craig Biggio. And Dave, the Cubs' upset bid falls 1 run short tonight. 6-5 the final score, but a great game nonetheless here in Chicago.
Thanks for reliving this special game at Wrigley Field on Marquee Sports Network.